Middlesbrough 0, Pompey 1. Middlesbrough 0, Pompey 1. Oh. You know, you sometimes meet those people who don't like sport, and you don't really bother to have a conversation with them because they've got nothing to talk about. You know, if a bloke comes round to fix your drain, you very quickly find out what his team is. The Spurs, in the case of the bloke who came round to sort out our drain. So the conversation flew. It was magnificent. He fixed the drain, then I made a pot of tea and we sat at the kitchen table and talked about, you know, Desabi and things. It was intimate and engaging and exciting. And what about that game of football? Right there. Middlesbrough 0, Pompey 1. I mean, wouldn't you go to your grave? If you had to say, what would you like your last game to be? I think quite a few of us would say, that'll do it. That'll do it. And here's the reason. We've had I'm just going to open another, only my third Peroni, all right, through the game. But I'm going to open it and take it outside because I like the fresh air after a game of football. Simple as that. So these people who don't know football and don't get football, you can't explain it to them, what it gives you. It's almost as though they're anaesthetised. And we're not. If anything, our sensory perceptions have been heightened through life by what football nurtures in us. Our love for our loved ones, our friendship with our friends, our solidarity where appropriate with our colleagues, our work ethic, our honesty, our decency. It's all interrelated with what football brings us. And what did that bring us? Middlesbrough 0, Pompey 1. Whether you saw the game or not, I was lucky enough to find a means of watching it. If you were just listening, the commentary was fantastic. And both pleasantly biased, but at the same time objective and neutral. The simple fact of the matter is that Pompey came to get a draw. I don't think anybody would argue with that. It's now 5:05, 10 minutes after the final whistle, which could have gone before the corner that we converted. But anyway, come back to that. We would have taken a draw. We were playing for the draw. The commentators, Guy Whittingham was saying, this is it. We just have to keep it like this because, if you'd offered us a draw before the game, we'd have bitten your hand off. And we would. We absolutely would. And then they did a brilliant bit of commentary, which was going up for the corner with 96 minutes gone. 6 minutes gone in the second half of 6 minutes of added on time. So really, you could argue we shouldn't have been given that corner, allowed that corner. But I think the corner was conceded within the added time, and therefore it has to be taken. And it was taken, and it was nodded out, and one of our players whacked it in. And Connor Chapman did something that I've only ever seen on film, because I've never been to a bullfight. He did something I've only ever seen on film bullfighters do, which is to sort of stand up proud, hands out of the way. In the case of bullfighters, they're holding swords, but he wasn't. And the bull kind of just glances their hips, their pelvic region. And that's what he did. Whether he was trying to apply a finishing touch or whether he was trying to get out of the way of the ball, no one will ever know, except him. But he shot a glance over his shoulder towards the lino, and the goal stood, and off he went. And I think he got so exuberant about life and everything that after the game, I think he was yellow carded for some kind of a dispute with one of the Middlesbrough, because it kicked off a little bit after the game. Sadly, the cameras didn't linger on it. You're supposed to disapprove of that kind of thing going on. But look, we know these guys are paid quite a lot of money, but we want them to care. We want them to stand up for themselves, stand up for us. And that's what happened immediately after the game. And I dare say there'll be minor recriminations on that. But so what? John Messino got in pretty quickly and told the Pompey players to back off, go away, leave it alone. He's not worth it, that one. So we spent the entire game, most of the game. As the game went on, more and more, we devoted ourselves to having 11 men behind the ball. Colby Bishop was a defending midfield player. You would see him cropping up, running alongside Pack and Dazelle. He was in there. He was tackling. He was taking on 50-50s. He was doing the stuff that you need to have every player doing if you are struggling in a relegation zone and visiting a cold, rainy place 5.5 hours up the motorway, and they are, looking for promotion to the Premier League. They're that good, technically that much better than us. To get a point, we got a point there. Be honest, good Pompey Sound listener. If we got a point, wouldn't you have been very, very happy? And looking at the 98 minutes of the game, I don't think we could say that we missed many chances. They were all over us, but they didn't manage to get through us. Partly, in fact, almost entirely, because of the defending of Regan Poole and Jojo Deer and the goalkeeping of Nicholas Schmidt. He's had his critics over the last few games. Just going to have a swig. Sorry about that. Very indulgent, but you would if you can, wouldn't you? So we set up shop to defend. And once you've got that mentality, say you're down to 10 men, which of course we were one game ago. When you're down to 10 men, your mentality changes. But when you're defending because of the circumstances just discussed, because you're playing a potential Premier League team and you are a potential League One team, then you defend with your life. Now, I once took a youth team to a game, an away game, and the convoy of cars, there are about 4 of us, 4 cars, each with about 2 or 3 or 4 players, young players, in each car, got separated. And the back 2 cars didn't know where they were going. They hadn't bothered to get an address or anything. They were just going to follow the car in front. There's a lot of this goes on a Sunday morning. So we got to the ground, and there were 6 of us, my team. There were 6 of us, a goalkeeper and 5 players. And we figured that, well, they'll find us eventually, but the ref said, I'm not going to stall the game. It's a 10 o'clock kickoff, and it's a 10 o'clock kickoff. And we said, well, there's only 6 of us. And he said, well, deal with it. So we did. The team that we were playing were better than us anyway. So we expected to lose 3 or 4-0, which is quite a close game in junior football sometimes, but anyway. However, this is what happened. I swear this is what happened. I told our boys, I said, did you ever see the film Zulu? And some of them said, yeah. What? And I said, okay, we are going to play, forget Catenaccio, forget 3 at the back. We are going to play Rorke's Drift. Okay? I want everybody on the edge of our penalty area for the whole of the rest of the match, unless the rest of our team turn up, which they didn't until half-time. The score at half-time? 0-0. Yeah, 0-0. The rest of our players arrived, an hour late, changed, ran out for the second half. Now we've got 11. against their 11. We lost 4-0. This is a completely true story that I carry around as a flag in my heart for what you can do when you just simply blooming well have to. Britain in 1939, we had no right whatsoever to the country had. I'm not going to say we because I wasn't there. Our country, the country we are now, then had no right to stand up to the might, the overwhelming might of Hitler and his cronies. But they did. And they won. Now, I'm not saying that what we did at the Riverside on Saturday was in any way equivalent to that kind of an achievement in terms of the merit of it and the value and the importance of it. Of course I'm not. But what I'm saying is that sometimes people, and I don't know whether it's an English characteristic in particular, I suspect not. I suspect it's in all human beings too, when the chips are down, stand fast. As Captain Aubrey says in Master and Commander, stand fast! Stand fast. And they did. Our boys showed lots of footballing ability. And they showed that they had an opportunistic streak, a mile wide, to nick a 1-0 win in the way that they did. They were absolute card sharks, muggers, thieves, shoplifters. They shoplifted 3 points, didn't they? But never allow that to obscure the achievement of their digging in for 96 minutes, 90, counting the extra time in the first half, 98 minutes. They dug in. They dug in to hold their ground. All of them. Every single one of them. Even little Chaplin, who, punches above his weight, because he has to. Even he was sticking his foot in there and sticking his foot in here, and he was doing it. He wanted it. They all wanted it. It was a performance that I will carry with me at the front of my mind until Tuesday, because it's Ipswich, isn't it? And so that will eclipse it, and we'll have forgotten about it. And at the end of the season, we'll go, oh yeah, do you remember we won 1-0 at Middlesbrough? What happened there? Oh yeah, who got the goal? Oh yeah. But at this moment in time, with the whole thing fresh as thinly sliced cucumber, it is a time to enjoy. A time to salute the seagulls over the south coast. Boys, here we go. I say boys, Spike Milligan joke. Man standing at the end of a boat, and he says to Spike, "They're bloody big pigeons." And Spike goes, "They're gulls." And the bloke goes, "Well, boys or gulls, they're bloody big pigeons." Middlesbrough 0. Pompey 1. Come on.